5:30, we've got Manchester United against Leicester for you. Jose Mourinho saying hello to Rio Ferdinand, Paul Pogba likewise. Just one change for United, then Martial in for Rashford. And for Leicester City, the champions the season before last, unchanged for their visit to Old Trafford. Kasper Schmeichel, of course, knowing that ground extremely well. Blackpool 2, Oldham 1. Oldham with only 3 subs named have pulled the goal back there. Lincoln have got 3 points shortly at home to Carlisle now. And it's Plymouth 0, Scunthorpe 2. Jeff Brazier's got a goal for us at Sutton, Jeff.
Yes, Maidstone starting the second half, the stronger team, actually playing a bit more football instead of going from back to front as they were quite ineffectively. Still in 20 minutes of football, not creating a chance. That was until they brought Zavon Hines on. He used to play for West Ham, played 30-odd games for them. He's been popping up in all kinds of positions, causing trouble for the Sutton defence. Well, they've floated a corner in after spells of pressure, and Magnus Okubungai has managed to get himself up ahead of his Sutton defensive marker and stuck it in the back of the net. It's 1-1. And Sutton are causing their own problems here.
Millwall with only 4 goals all season before today, but they've doubled that. Sean Hutchison with the 4th, 18 minutes from time. OK, so Huddersfield still 0-0 and Watford still 0-0. Swansea 2 up at Crystal Palace and Newcastle leading West Ham by 1-0. West Ham making a couple of changes as they try and desperately search a first point of the season, Glenn.
Yeah, they've got to put some fresh legs on there. And it's right as well. Noble's come off. I think it's Kaigu's come on. Sacco's come on. And I think, you know, it's right for West Ham. They're not doing enough. They're not forcing Newcastle back. And it's just it's a poor game at the moment. It really is. But someone's got to step up for West Ham here, whether it's a bit of a power play or a bit of ability, really.
Kane Vincent-Young, first senior goal for him. Colchester surely wrapped it up at home to Forest Green. Mansfield 2 up on Luton now. Confirmation, as Jeff was telling us, about the Mason equaliser at Sutton. And Southend 1-0 up, 2-1 down, 3-2 up at Gillingham. Quite a game there. Simon Cox, 17 minutes from time at Priestfield. Gomez has made a good save to his left, or just stretching out a long arm there, John.
Yeah, again, it's from Knockaert. Hits it across the goal. Just maybe hoping that Gomez just gets a hand, but it comes out to an oncoming Brighton player. Hits it out for a corner, Gomez. Decent save. Him in now, decent chance, and now it's another corner for Brighton.
One big man for another one, Glenn. Mitrovic for Joselu.
Yeah, Mitrovic has come on. Joselu, although he scored the goal, hasn't had the best of the games for his first game for Newcastle. But Mitrovic, you know, got a goal, didn't he, in the week, and he's a handful. They get balls into the box, he's a danger.
Oxford lost for the first time last weekend and lost at Scunthorpe, but they're 1 up at the Kassam, Gina Van Kessel. And Frank Nouble scored twice for Newport County, who've come from 1 down to lead Chesterfield by 2 goals to 1. Mitrovic, straight into the action. What's happened? Newcastle have scored. Clark has got it.
Clark's got it. Richie does fantastic out on the right-hand side with his favoured left foot. Goes on the outside, but he has got a great cross in with his right foot, and the marking from West Ham is poor. Players in between. But there's a lovely little bit of skill. He goes on the outside, gets a right cross, swings it in, and Clark's there. 2v1 on Sabaleta at the back post. And I think it's Collins that gets dragged across to the near post. But it's a great goal because it's well created. Lovely ball in from Richie, and a beautiful little finish just off the far post from Clark.
Yep. Heads it, really steers it wide of Joe Hart, doesn't he?
Yeah, he actually places it there. You can see him trying to pick something out, not just happy to head it. He's actually placed it there, and it's a really good goal.
Frustrating from a goalkeeper's point of view there. He's going to have no chance. He's got he should really, not blaming Joe Hart, but he's got to communicate. James Collins doesn't check his right shoulder. You can see the 2 forwards are in between the 2 centre-halves, which is criminal defending.
It's a bit harsh.
I know, that's I said it's. I'm not blaming Joe Hart. I'm not blaming the keeper, but all he can do is try and organise his back line, but it's basic defending once again.
4-3 for Olafila Olamola. Yeovil 2, Coventry 0. Wigan against Portsmouth was a Premier League fixture 7 years ago. Connor Chapman's equalised for Portsmouth, and that goal from Kieran Clark timed in the 72nd minute. Norwich are 4 down at Millwall, Jules, which is getting some social media reaction.
It sure is. Norwich fans getting in touch. Stephen Sharman says something has to drastically change after today. Christian Green said, I get that we need to be patient with this new-look Norwich team, but that doesn't involve getting embarrassed by Millwall. This would be Millwall's first win of the season if they hold on.
OK, that's Daniel Farke, of course, who's taken over at Norwich this season. Let's go back to Jeff Brazier then, and the Sutton-Maidstone game. What's happening, Jeff?
Yes, it's now Maidstone 2, Sutton 1. They've kept the pressure on. They enjoyed a good spell of possession there, and someone rolled a ball just across the edge of the 18 box. It was going to Joe Piggott's feet. He's just cheekily let it run through his legs, created the space there as well for Jack Paxman, who steps up with his first goal since January. He's stuck it in the top corner. It's a fantastic finish, and they're 2-1 up now.
Things have changed and turned around there at Gander Green Lane. Newport 3, Chesterfield 1. Frank Nublet with a hat-trick there for Newport. Dean and John, you'll be hoping that the Welshmen don't leave it late like they did last season, Dean, to get out of trouble down the bottom of League 2.
Last day, wasn't it? Last day, yeah. I mean, well, being Welsh, we want all the teams in. We need Wrexham back in there. We need Newport in the league, Swansea, Cardiff. For Welsh football, really, for all the children. To grow, all the children to grow up with teams to support who are in the league. Yeah. I mean, I'm being a bit serious there for a minute.
That's a hat-trick for him in 13 minutes as well, Frank Nublet there. Adi Akinfenwa with another goal. Grimsby 2, Wycombe 3. He has certainly done his bit since joining Wycombe. A confirmation of what Jeff was telling us about at Maidstone leading at Sutton. Northampton 0, Peterborough 3, Jack Marriott there. Cheltenham 2, Exeter 3. Exeter were 2 down at Cheltenham. Ruben Reid from the spot. 13 minutes from time. Every time I look up, Chris Hughton's got a really serious look on his face.
Well, he is serious. He looks $1 million, by the way.
Oh, he does, yeah, with the goatee as well.
But, you know, the likes of Dale Stevens and March, they've got to be driving their team forward. There's 10, 15 minutes left in the game. They've just got to throw a bit of caution to the wind, Brighton, and just maybe go for it. Just take a risk. I don't think they're going to concede.
Yeah, but they haven't got a point yet this season. He doesn't
well, come on. You cannot argue that, Mark. This is a golden opportunity for Brighton to get 3 points in the bag, up and running, confident.
They've played for long enough. They've played for long enough against 10 men, and they look as if they've not really gone for it.
You know why he looks $1 million, by the way? You know why he's looking $1 million? Because he hasn't lost many games of football over the last 2 years. No. Have a look at Bilic.
Yeah.
Slavin's having a hard time on the bench here, I've got to say. Yeah. Newcastle just getting behind again, back post, and Ovod and Mitrovic just can't get. I think Zabaleta shows.
So this will be. They'll have lost. They obviously won at Cheltenham in the League Cup in the week, but the 3 league games they've had to play away because they've been doing the Olympic Stadium back into football from the Athletics. Can't wait to get home.
No,
it does put pressure on that first home game, doesn't it?
Well, it does. They wanted to go playing at home with a bit of confidence, but at the moment, their confidence is shot to pieces. It really is.
He's slipped.
Charlie Mulgrew's got a couple in the game for the first time. Blackburn 3, MK
Big moment here, Mark. In the Huddersfield-Southampton game, Ward-Prowse goes down in the box. Southampton, they've been really poor in this game. Breakout. I'd like to see this one again and get Chris Foy's opinion. He goes down. There's no reason for him to go down, because if he turns, he can square it to McQueen, who would have an open goal. So, huge decision from Stuart Atwell. Does he get caught? I think...
Caught his foot.
Yeah, he gets caught. It should be a penalty.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He does.
There's no reason for him to go down there, Mark. He's chopped back in, and he'll just square that for McQueen, who's going to put that in. I think that's a penalty. Stuart Atwell is in a good position for me.
Chris, Foy's been watching out at Old Trafford for us in the van there. Chris, should that have been a penalty?
Mark, I'm not sure. I've looked at it 3 times now, and I listened to what Chris Sutton's just said about the player going down. He's got no reason to. But on the couple of angles I've looked at, I haven't seen any contact. So I couldn't make that decision. But hopefully with a couple of more reviews, we can come back to it and I can give you a definitive answer.
The way I see it, Mark, is there is contact. And if there's contact in the box, the defender doesn't win the ball, I think it's a penalty.
I think he slipped myself.
Yeah, I do.
I think his leg's gone away, and I think as a referee, though, Chris, you've got to be 100%.
You can't guess, can you? No.
Yeah, and you look at the reaction. Sam McQueen.
And the referee in the perfect position. He is.
Sam McQueen's the other centre forward up there for Southampton. You see his reaction. There isn't any. Basically, he just gets on, runs back.
Yeah, but that's not a reason for not giving a penalty.
No, but I'm saying
when he chops back, there's contact from Zanka onto.
Newcastle. Hit the post.
Who's hit the post there, Glenn?
Newcastle hit the post.
You can't say
it's terrible defending from West Ham.
Quedo has just come on, Mark, for Brighton. Their record signing from Club Brugge.
Yeah, and then there. Chris Foy's going to keep having a look at that. I think we're showing here that even with VAR, this might be a hard decision.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be a hard decision to overturn. That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Tom Eaves has
Bad
got a
camera
hat-trick
angles.
for Gillingham. Gillingham 3, Southend 3. Right, talking of 3-3, that's where we left you, Tom Bushell. What's going on now?
Remarkably, it's still 3-3 here at Partick Thistle against Aberdeen. There really has been plenty of goals, and my first prediction of the day was 6-0 to Aberdeen. My second prediction is there's a winner in this. Aberdeen are pushing, they're probing. Partick, though, are playing their part as well. The tackles are flying in, and they do have the odd chance, but it's still both sides looking for that winner. 10 minutes or so still to go here at Firhill. I'll keep you updated.
Carlisle have got one back at Sincil Bank, 3-1 to Lincoln. Dagenham 4, Bromley 1. Torquay have pulled one back, but still likely to go bottom of the National League at the moment. And Shrewsbury have equalised at the Kassam. Stephen Payne has got the goal there. That's 5th against 4. Shrewsbury won their opening 3 league games of the season. They've never won their opening 4 league games, but they've got a chance now that they've equalised. Back to Chris Foy. Chris, this is an interesting one, that if we were in the brave new VAR world, what the decision would be. You've had several more looks, so what do you think?
Yeah, quite interesting. My initial thoughts was it wasn't a penalty, and the more I look at it, I think there's a slight slip, and it looks as though that James Ward-Prowse makes contact with the defender. So it's a real tough call for the referee, and he's not going to guess, because referees won't do that. So he's decided that he has made a decision, and the decision is nothing, it's play on, and I fully support that judgment on this occasion.
All right, Chris, thank you very much indeed for that. Chance for Puncheon just to get one back for Palace and to make things a little bit nervy, for Townsend, I beg your pardon, a little bit nervy for Swansea there, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a few half chances. Swansea, like, a bit shambolic defending in the box. They've had about 4 half chances. Kabai's had a chance, MacArthur's had a chance, Scott Dan's had a chance of not clearing the ball properly. And the ball's dropped to Townsend, and you know he can strike a ball from anywhere. Left foot, tried to bend it in the far corner. I think it's hit the outside of the post. Unlucky.
Harry Kewells-Crawley are 2 up now at Swindon. Jordan Roberts on course for their first league win
Oh,
of
what
the
a miss
season.
for Southampton!
Oh,
It's
Yoshida.
What's he doing up there? I don't know, Mark, but they've actually... Oh, I think he's marginally offside. I think, is it McQueen on the left-hand side?
Oh, how's he missed that?
It's whipped it along the 6-yard line. Yoshida in the middle of the goal. The goal gaping, just has to touch it in, and he gets a touch. It goes beyond the far post. Southampton, he should have buried it.
Well, of course, he was up there last week to earn the penalty, wasn't he, when Zabaleta fouled him, from which Charlie Austin
just
scored.
signed a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
But they may regret that.
Not for goal scoring, he hasn't. Blackburn 4, MK Dons 1. Right, been a goal at Celtic, Stephen Craigan. What's going on?
Well, Celtic Park has just erupted. You would never have guessed. It was Callum McGregor who has got the equaliser. It was pinball in the St Johnstone 18-yard box. It dropped to Callum McGregor's right foot, and he slammed it past Alan Manus. And with what 12, 13 minutes to go here, we had an injury in the first half. 6 minutes added on time in the first half. Celtic will go all out for a winner. Celtic 1, St Johnstone 1.
And Tom Bushell thinks there'll be a winner at Partick Thistle as well.
Absolutely, Aberdeen have gone 4-3 up here at Partick Thistle. If it stays like that between Celtic and St Johnstone, and Aberdeen will be top of course tonight if they can hold on for the win here. It's been such a seesaw here at Firhill today, but Aberdeen have gone ahead, and it was Adam Rooney from a great cross from Christie who knocked the ball into the box. Adam Rooney just glanced his head, tugged it in. It's Partick Thistle 3, Aberdeen 4.
And to Jeff Brazier in the National League, where Maidstone have come from behind to lead away at the league leaders at the moment, Jeff.
Could be game over for the league leaders. It's 3-1 to Maidstone now. Just one simple clearance from Magnus Akungai goes over the head of the left-back, Aswood Thomas. And Joe Pigott just lifts it over the keeper's head. Nothing he can do about it. It's a great finish. 3-1, potentially game over. Not long to go now.
Not long to go anywhere. Are we going to have a winner at the John Smith Stadium, Chris Sutton? Who looks the more likely if there is to be one?
Well, Southampton have finally turned up. Do you know what, though? They've been really boring, has to be said, this afternoon. Huddersfield have deserved it, I think, with their energy, their endeavour. They've put balls in the box. Forster's made the better saves. I mean, of course, you could say that Yoshida had the best chance of the game. But, you know, I think Huddersfield deserve something from this.
And Brighton come close, John Hartson.
Yeah, new record signing from Club Brugge is Cuedo, 13.5 million. Not long been on the pitch, Mark. Cuts inside on his right foot, and he hits a great shot, just slightly over Gomez's bar in the Watford goal. So Brighton probing, still going for it, but not enough for me, not going for it enough.
A Scottish Premiership equaliser for Hamilton at Fir Park, 2-2 there, Kilmarnock and Hamilton. Chester leading at Aldershot in the National League. Now, what's Mitrovic been up to with Lanzini, Glenn?
Yeah, he's just the ball's played. He's played a little 1-2 round him, and just after the ball had gone, he's had a little glance at him and leaves his elbow there slightly. Look, and I tell you, he's lucky that he's not been seen.
It's a bit like the Shaqiri one the other week at Everton.
With Baines.
Very, very similar, and he has a look.
Yeah,
and then he just throws it a little bit. Do you know? I mean, it's dangerous play.
If it's seen, he's off.
Yeah.
You could easily send him off if the referee's seen him. He's got away with it.
Yeah, we'll bring in Chris Foy. We'll get Chris to have a look at that one, and then we'll bring it in. Reading looks like they're going to win at St Andrews. They're 2-0 up away to Birmingham. Mansfield 2, Luton 1, a fifth for Dagenham at home to Bromley. And Walsall 3, Bradford 3. Great game there at the Bescot. And Bakayoko, 3 minutes from time, has made it Walsall 3, Bradford 3. Chris Foy still having a look at that incident between Mitrovic and Lanzini. And we'll have a look at that one. Swansea are going to make a change. It looks like Swansea make a change.
Good save, Hart.
Yeah, looks like Angel Rangel's coming on.
Just to tighten things up at the back.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they're going to concede a goal, to be honest. I mean, if Palace can get one, they'll get another one.
Fabulous save here, Mark, from Hart. He's one-on-one. Mitrovic comes in, he makes his body... Rachel, have a look at that. You see it?
Yeah,
fabulous save.
That's exactly Joe
Made
Hart.
himself big.
That's almost his USP. It's his technique. He spreads his leg that's going to the left-hand side. He bends his knee and he goes, and how he makes himself so big. That is kind of his style of producing that type of save. Making the goal look really, really small, getting high off his line as well, going down the line of the ball, made it really difficult. Good save.
What was great about that, Rachel, I don't know if you agree, is his head. Watch his head when he makes that save. There's another 1v1 against him. Mitrovic has gone rounded him, and he scored.
Mitrovic has scored this time. Should he be on the pitch, though? We're going to have a word with Chris Foy in a second.
Off the line for Southampton, Bertrand roundabout. Shane Long has made a big difference to Southampton. Gets to the byline, loops across to the far post. Has headed back across from Bertrand. It's going in. I don't know who clears it off the line, but crucial for Huddersfield.
Oh, West Ham have tried to play offside. I don't know. Is that Collins? Collins has tried to play offside, I think.
Mark, it was good play. When you've got to run from deep there, you get caught. You can't play offside there. He's tried to step up, but it's a great run. Mitrovic has timed it. Hart's come out, he's dummied him, gone round the keeper and just strolled it and rolled it in. But, you know, Newcastle have not been great. They're 3-0 up. They've not been fantastic. I worry for West Ham and Slaven Bilic at the moment, I've got to say.
Right, let's see if we can. Crawley Town are going to definitely win now. Harry Kewell will be bouncing. They're 3-0 up. Jimmy Smith has scored there. Let's bring in Chris Foy then. Mitrovic has just scored, but should he be on the pitch? Chris, what about what maybe was an elbow from Mitrovic on Lanzini a couple of moments ago?
Yeah, I just looked at it a couple of times, Mark, and what we've got to decide is whether it's an act of brutality, you know, is it an act of violent conduct? And he looks to have a little look at the opponent, and he does use his elbow. The referee's got to determine is that violent, and in my opinion, he's looking to stay on the pitch.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Jules, you've got some social reaction to this?
Yeah, they've come in before the goal was scored by Mitrovic. The West Ham Way said that was a clear elbow by Mitrovic on Lanzini, deliberate too, totally missed by the officials. And Neil Cooper said that elbow shoulder from Mitrovic on Lanzini was no different than the one Arnautovic got a red for last week, which is a fair point.
10 goals conceded in 3 games, Glenn, now for West Ham.
Well, you look at West Ham, you always think they're a good footballing side. Today, they can't even pass the ball. But defensively, they're all over the place. They haven't put more than 4 passes together in the whole game. I really feel that something's got to happen there in the sense that Slaven's got to get that home game. I think they've got Huddersfield next.
Yes,
so it's Newcastle who have come up, Huddersfield next. If they don't get a result against Huddersfield, the 2 teams that have come up, West Ham fans are going to be thinking, where are we going?
It's the manner of the performance, Glenn, as much as any.
Yeah, they've not peppered the goals. They've not been unlucky.
We haven't seen Hernandez anywhere sniffing at anything to sniff out.
No service for him at all, Mark. No.
No, I can't remember Rob Elliott making.
You can't look at the league table till 6 games in. You can't judge a team in 3 games.
Are you saying
a manager.
Are you saying West Ham fans I mean, they're not going to be happy with this, though.
No,
They're completely disillusioned with the team.
But look at Swansea today. They look like they're going to win this game. 3 points. Where does that take you? 14th
It's
in
the
the
manner
league?
of the defeat. I think equally.
Yeah, but there's never a manner. There's never a right manner of losing a game.
No,
is there?
but how Crystal Palace have played today is ridiculous. They look disorganised, they look disinterested, and that's similar, I think.
To be honest with you, Rachel, there's not a lot in it between the both teams. They've missed chances, Palace.
Palace and Swansea?
There's not a lot in it. They've had enough chances,
Organisation
Palace.
is a big difference.
But
we're talking about West
tight.
Ham here, Dean. We're talking about West Ham. I mean, it would be a big concern if I was a West Ham fan watching this display this afternoon.
If we start sacking managers after 3 games, something's wrong.
The owners will give him a chance to play at home.
Yeah.
If he wins the 3 home games that he's got a run of 3 home games together, back to back. If they win that, but looking at them at the moment, they don't look like they've got a win in them.
Chris, you've got no goals, I'm afraid.
There's a shock. I mean, they've never drawn, I think, in 11 games in the history of the game. And guess what? They don't just draw. It's a ball draw.
Well, that's it. It's all over. Lincoln 4, Carlisle 1. Millwall have hammered Norwich by 4-0. Watford trying to get a winner with 10 men against Brighton. That looks like it's heading for 0-0. Newcastle are going to beat West Ham. Celtic have equalised at home to St Johnstone. It is all over now at Watford. John, you've had no goals either.
No goals. Brighton, for me, had an advantage all throughout the game. Very early on, the sending off of Watford Britos should have done a lot more. It's as if Brighton were happy with the draw. Their first point of the season. I think that's the wrong attitude. I think the opportunity was there to go at Watford, throw bodies forward, show a little bit more fight. They didn't do that. OK, they've come away. It's a decent point away at Watford, but under the circumstances, I felt they should have gone for the 3 points.
Well, Paul Clement was in the stands. He hadn't actually officially taken over when Swansea played at Crystal Palace last season and they won. They've won again, 2-0, Dean.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, there wasn't a lot in it. Both teams at the start of the game, I deliberately said it was going to be a 0-0, knowing that the game would liven up as we went along. And it ended up livening up a bit. Both teams had chances, missed open goals, both teams. Both teams look as if they're going to concede a goal any minute. Swansea have just stumbled over the line. It's a great win for the club. Sam Kluk has signed, positive. They lost Sigurdsson, negative. Llorente's injured, that's negative. They've managed to get a win today, which gets them off the bottom, up to the probably 14th, 13th. I don't know where they're going to end up.
I think
Palace are in trouble.
And I think as well, Dean, Swansea's next game, if I'm not mistaken, is Newcastle home at the Liberty.
Hey, they're all tough in this league. It's the best league in the world. It's hard to get 3 points. That 3 points is 3 points nearer safety for Swansea.
What about from Palace's point of view? Frank de Boer looking smart in his crisp white shirt. They've lost 3-0, 1-0, 2-0 now, 2 of them at home.
Every manager in the league has signed new players. And when you're putting a new team together, when you put new players in your team, it doesn't click straight away sometimes. So to be thinking about sacking managers after 3 games, when if you win the next 2...
about sacking, Dean. You know, it's been a terrible start from Palace. They've had 2 home games against sides that I think it's all fair to say they would have expected to do much better against. And it's not just losing, it's how they've lost. Well, he's changed he's ripped up the last structure which was successful under Sam Allardyce. Yeah. And if you're a Palace fan, you're wondering what the hell.
So what are you doing? Giving
on?
Him 3 games?
I'm not giving him 3 games, but
3 games to get it right. Things aren't going to be perfect.
How long are you going to give him then?
Well, things aren't going to be
15, 20
Chris,
games?
it can take 2 years.
2 years
to get your team right. I'm not saying give him 2 years, but 3 games. He's just took over as manager. You can't judge him in 3 games.
Well, I think that one of the goals, the second goal, that would be a major concern for me. If I was a Palace fan, it was a.
Do you know what though? Sometimes it can help you. The bad start of the season like this, instead of papering over the cracks with his striker nicking a couple of goals when he played terrible, this sometimes can sort you out for the season. But he might see all the problems right now.
That's the change of style, let's face it, from where they were, and he's going to want them to play.
Yeah.
And he'll learn as he goes through. Can he play this way, in his ideal way?
Well, that's what I mean,
Glenn. He might
Glenn.
have to change.
That's what I mean.
At the moment, they're caught between 2 stools. And I said to a Palace mate of mine, you're going to struggle at the beginning.
Yeah.
If he gets it in the end, but will he get the time?
Well, he's got to have more than
play that way.
He's got to have more than 3 games. He can't start calling for his head now. He's trying to change He's trying to change everything.
But is he getting the best out of Benteke, for example?
No, but he'll know that himself. He'll sit in the office afterwards.
Well, how
with
long will it take him to know that then?
Well, he might.
Because everybody else
You have to go on the training ground, Chris. You have to go on the training ground. You have to piece together the players you've got. I thought he'd play better with him. I've just realised after 3 games he doesn't. So I'll leave him out and I'll put him in. Then we might get the ball a bit quicker to Benteke.
Let's just quickly update people. Let me just tell people that Cardiff have won again. They won 5 in a row, but Ipswich have lost at home to Fulham. And Newcastle are going to win 3-0. So actually the big problems tonight, Crystal Palace, as we've discussed, and West Ham, Glenn. 2 London teams with real issues even at the end of August.
Very much so. Final whistle was just
full time as well. Newcastle have won it 3-0.
3-0, yeah. But it's a good win for Rafa. You know, he won't be happy. At the end of the day, there's a lot of improvement that is needed, but that will give him a base and it will give him a bit of confidence. I couldn't say that it was really flowing football. It was a tough game. The result was more important than anything else for both sides. But as for West Ham, Slaven's got real problems there at the moment, and he's got to get out on that training pitch. They've got Huddersfield at home, first home game this season. They've got to win that, but the pressure's building. And I know in that coach going home or the train, the flight, whatever, in his mind, he doesn't know what team to pick now. He's going to have to be changing things around, and that's not great. When you start a season and you've started well and you fall on a team that's playing well with confidence, that's a great feeling for a manager. He can set his tone, he can work on the training ground, but he's got a lot of work this week to be done at West Ham's training ground.
OK, then Swansea beat Crystal Palace 2-0 at Selhurst Park this afternoon. Tammy Abraham and Jordan Ayew, a 3rd straight defeat for Palace. Huddersfield and Southampton finished goalless. Both teams continue their unbeaten starts. Newcastle got their first win of the season thanks to goals from Joselu and from Kieran Clark and Alexander Mitrovic. West Ham then losing for the 3rd game in a row. And Brighton earned their first point of the campaign, a 0-0 draw at Watford, but played for 65 minutes against 10 men. Britos sent off. Huddersfield's point enough to take them top of the table on goal difference ahead of Manchester City. Manchester United, though, could reclaim top spot. They play Leicester later. Swansea's first win of the season takes them up to 9th. And at the bottom, West Ham, Crystal Palace and Bournemouth at the foot of the table after all losing their opening 3 games of the season. Brighton's first point takes them up to 17th. Newcastle's win sees them climb to 14th. OK, let's go to Old Trafford then for the 5:30 kickoff. Let's join Jake.